5 million views on one photo. That number alone should tell you everything about how unprepared people were for what they were looking at. May 23rd, somebody on X reposted a picture of Domani Harris standing next to a woman. His arm around her shoulder, casual setting, outdoor event, nothing dramatic about it at all. The caption said they looked like twins, and that caption is what broke people, because the woman standing next to Domani Harris was not who millions of fans assumed she would be. It was not Tameka Tiny Harris. The woman in that photo was Lashon Dixon, Domani's biological mother, T.I.'s ex, a woman who has been raising these boys and managing their careers for over 2 decades. Over 5 million views. 63 plus comments, a significant portion of them from people who were genuinely stunned, not mildly surprised, stunned. Writing things like the entire Harris family story had just been rewritten for them in real time. Lashon Dixon is not a mystery. She never was. Born November 30th, 1979, in Atlanta, she and T.I. had a relationship that lasted roughly 6 years and produced 2 sons. Messiah Ya Majesty Harris, born February 2000, then Domani Araya Harris, born March 2001. The relationship ended the same year Domani was born, but Lashon did not exit. She stayed exactly where any mother stays, in her children's lives, every single day, doing the work. She married Teshawn Thompson years later, and that marriage has stayed solid. She opened her own beauty salon, Bounce Hair LLC. She appeared on the Bravo series, Mother's Funders. She has been managing both Messiah and Domini's entertainment careers professionally. Her Instagram bio reads, Momager to Messiah and Domini, host, TV personality, on Bravo, Mother Funders. 43,000 followers. You are publicly available. Always has been. Getty Images has her on record at Domini's birthday celebration in Toronto in 2013. She was photographed at Messiah's birthday event in Atlanta. She was at the Sesh event in Atlanta in April 2023, standing right next to both her sons. The photo trail is not hard to follow. Casual fans were not following that trail. They were watching VH1. They were watching Tiny Harris command every room in every episode of The Family Hustle, and their brain quietly assigned all those children to her. That is what happened. That is the honest explanation for how 5 million people got to May 2026, still not knowing that Domani's biological mother was a separate woman who had been documented at his events for over a decade. T.I. and Tiny married in 2010. Between them, they brought 7 children into one family structure. T.I. had Messiah and Domani with Lashon Dixon. He had Deja Amani Harris from his relationship with Reniqua Branham, publicly known as Miss Nico. Tiny brought Zanique Jaylee Pullins from her relationship with Zani Pullins. Then T.I. and Tiny had King, Major, and Eris together. 7 kids. 3 separate situations behind the scenes. Multiple homes, multiple mothers, multiple co-parenting dynamics operating at the same time. T and Tiny. The Family Hustle ran on VH1 for 6 seasons. Then came T and Tiny, Friends and Family Hustle in 2018. Tiny, at the center of everything, managing everyone, the loudest presence, the most visible parent on screen. And what audiences absorbed from that, season after season, was a picture of Tiny as the mother of all of these children. The part those shows did not fully put in front of people was Lashon Dixon going home after visiting scenes and raising these boys in her own house the majority of the time. Domani said it himself in a December 2023 interview with Baller Alert. He was direct about it. During the filming of The Family Hustle, he and Messiah were not living primarily at T and Tiny's house. They were living with their mother, Lashon Dixon. I stayed with my mother. We both lived with her, he said. They would visit T and Tiny. They participated in the show, but day to day, their home was Lashon's home.
Stay with my mother. Most people don't know that we got different moms. Me and Messiah got the same mom. Messiah's my older brother.
That interview came out and did not even come close to producing the reaction this one photo produced in May 2026, which tells you something about how the internet processes information. A young man can say it in plain words in a podcast, and people nod and move on. Then a photo drops, and 5 million people act like they just received classified information. Here is what is worth saying clearly about those comments. Some of the people expressing shock genuinely did not know. They were casual viewers who watched the show, followed the family loosely, and never had reason to go deeper into the details of who was biologically whose. That is a reasonable place to be. Force. The show was the main source of information for a lot of people, and the show centered Tiny in a way that naturally blurred those lines. But a portion of the people typing, "I never knew," in those comments absolutely had access to this information before. The Baller Alert interview was shared. Lashon's name has come up in Harris family coverage before. She has had a public Instagram for years. The more meaningful conversation, though, is what the shock actually reveals about the family. When millions of people cannot look at a blended household and identify who is biological and who is not, that is not confusion. That is evidence of a home where love was not rationed based on DNA. Tiny treated every child under that roof as her own, with enough consistency that audiences watching from the outside could not spot the difference. That is not something that happens by accident. That is intentional, sustained effort over years. The internet calling them blended family pros in those comments was not just a caption. It was an accurate description of what this family has actually built. And if the viral photo left any doubt about how deep the bond between Domani and Tiny actually runs. What happened 3 months earlier settled that question permanently. Ty and 50 Cent's long-running beef reignited in early 2026 after Ty went public about 50 Cent backing out of their Versus battle. 50 responded the way he typically responds to conflict, not with music, but with Instagram. He started posting unflattering images of Tiny Harris, directing public mockery at her appearance and at the family. King Harris responded first, dropping a record and going public with it. Then Domani Harris moved. He posted a diss track to Instagram titled Miss Jackson. The record opened with a sample of Outkast's 2000 classic of the same name.
Miss Jackson, am I overreacting or is it valid? I wanna have a one-on-one
and rode J. Cole's Poor Thang beat. Then Domani Harris moved. He posted a diss track to Instagram titled Miss Jackson. The record opened with a sample of Outkast's 2000 classic of the same name and rode J. Cole's Poor Thang beat. Domani addressed the verses directly to 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, a woman who died in a house fire when 50 Cent was 8 years old. It was surgical, it was personal, it was the product of genuine offense. Domani addressed the verses directly to 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, a woman who died in a house fire when 50 Cent was 8 years old. The record was not a casual response. It was surgical, it was personal. It was the product of genuine offense, and Domani said afterward that he did not consult Ty before releasing it. He did not ask permission. He heard that someone had publicly disrespected Tiny Harris, and he handled it. That is the detail that matters most in this entire story. Domani Harris, a man whose biological mother is Lashon Dixon, who raised him in her house during the years the cameras were rolling, still felt strongly enough about Tiny Harris being disrespected that he went to the booth, recorded a diss track referencing a dead woman, and posted it to Instagram without telling his father first. That does not come from someone with a surface-level connection to a step-parent. That comes from someone who was genuinely mothered by Tiny Harris in every real sense. Someone for whom the distinction between biological and step became irrelevant a long time ago, because both women showed up and both women were real. He had Lashon building his foundation at home. He had Tiny shaping his extended family world. When somebody came for one of them, both of them were protected in his mind. The diss track said everything without him ever having to explain it. most people watching blended families in public have seen them go sideways. The step-parent who cannot hide that they treat certain kids differently, the biological parent who uses the children as a pressure point in the adult conflict, kids who grow up carrying resentment they did not ask for, the family events that are visibly uncomfortable for everyone involved. That is not what the Harris family produced. 3 women connected to T children: Lashon Dixon, Miss Nico, Tiny Harris. 7 children distributed across those situations. And what came out on the other side was a group of young adults who defend each other, defend the women who raised them, and are now having children of their own. Zanique gave T and Tiny their first grandchild, Hunter, born in 2020. King had his first son in 2024, named after himself. Messiah and Domani both have daughters, Mercy and Marley. T and Tiny are grandparents across a blended family that started decades ago and is still expanding. These are not outcomes that happen in households where the parenting was fractured and the love was conditional. These are outcomes that happen when adults on all sides, biological parents, step-parents, former partners navigating co-parenting, decide to put the children first, consistently enough that the children never feel the weight of the adult complications. Lashon Dixon did that on her end, raised 2 boys in her home, managed their careers, stayed connected to their lives at every stage, showed up for their events, and did it without making noise about it or demanding credit for it. Tiny Harris did that on her end, poured herself into every child in that household regardless of biology, created a family environment that was visible and loud and real enough that millions of people watching from outside literally could not separate who belonged to who, because everyone belonged. And Domani Harris came out of both of those realities as a grown man who moves on instinct to protect the people who raised him, who drops diss tracks for his stepmother without being instructed to, who stands in photos with his biological mother and shares a resemblance so obvious that strangers call them twins on a post that crosses 5 million views. One photo, 5 million people who did not know what they were looking at. And a story that was never actually hidden, just being lived quietly while the world paid attention to the louder parts. Lashon Dixon has been there since the beginning. Tiny Harris has been there since the beginning. Domani Harris grew up knowing exactly who both of those women are to him and what both of them gave him. The internet just needed a casual repost on X and a caption about twins to finally catch up to what this family has known all along. Domani has 2 mothers in every real sense. One gave him his face, one helped build his name. And for over a decade, the millions of people watching this family from the outside could not tell where one mother's work ended and the other's began. That is not an accident. That is the result of 2 women and a family structure around them, doing the work right for a very long time. And they have been doing it without waiting for anyone's 5 million views to confirm it.